Alright, in this video I'm going to continue the Black Mesa Room series by creating this med kit that's on that will go on the wall. Alright, it should be very easy to do. This is a reference image I found on the internet, and I'll try to link you to it if you want to do this as well. I'll model in Blender and I'll texture it in Substance Painter. Alright, so I'm looking from the front, and I'm going to bring in a plane and scale it up by pressing S, and I'm going to press SX90 to rotate it, and I'm going to grab these vertices and pull it up to the top, and these ones and pull it down to the bottom. Alright, I'm going to go into wireframe, and this is what we have. I'm going to press A to select it all, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to press I to inset and pull in with my mouse until we get this. So it pretty much matches the diagram. That's fine. Alright, now I'm going to press Control R, click, and bring an edge loop up here. Now it's bent a little bit. Alright, I don't know if you can see that. Comes down, goes up, down. So I'm going to press SZ0 to straighten that out. And I'm going to bring another edge loop up here. It's also bent, so I'm going to press SZ0. And let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got the areas that we need for these parts. I'm going to press A to select it all, E to extrude, pull it back, X faces to get rid of the back faces. We're not going to need those. Alright, 3 for face selection. Select this face, hold shift and select that face, and we're going to extrude them in a little bit. But I'm not just going to leave them there, I'm going to break them out. P to break them both out. So those are separate from this thing now. Okay, so I might take these and hide them, and we can see through it. Alright, what I want to do is give this a little bit of a bevel. So I'm going to come in here and 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click here and here and here and here. Now this one is pretty straight, but I'm going to bevel mine. So Control B, pull, there's 2 edges, roll up to get a total of 3. Alright. And now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to select this edge. This is a little messy this way, but it should still work for us. Select that one, hold shift, select that one, and then hold shift and select that one, and then Control B, pull, and I'll get 3 as well. And I might do that again and just give it a bit of a bigger bevel than that to sort of match the top one a little bit more. Alt H, I can bring those back. Alright, so I just like it with the rounded corners a bit more. Okay, I'm going to come in here now, 2 for edge selection, Shift Alt and click. I should be able to go all the way around, and I'll give that a bevel. Control B, just a small one. Shift Alt and click this edge, and we'll have to click a couple of times to make sure we're getting in there, and there, and there, and do the same thing for this one. So I'm holding Shift and Alt and clicking, and I think I've got them all. I'll just turn it to the side a bit, Control B, and bevel like that. So we've got the bevel. I'm going to turn on the cavity shader, and this is what we've got. So this is basically just going to be texture, so I'm not going to do anything with that. I may just pull these back in a little bit. Just want to make sure actually that the inside goes in a bit more. So I'm going to select that edge and that edge. I should have it all, and just pull it in a bit more. Okay, so I want to do this thing. I'm going to look from the front and in wireframe, and I think I'll bring in a brand new plane to create that. So Shift A, mesh plane, rotate X90, scale it down till I get the approximate width, and maybe a bit bigger. So I'll put that somewhere around there. Select this edge and pull it out to about there. Okay, so I'm going to press 1 for vertex selection or vertex mode. Shift Control B to bevel and pull. And I'm okay with just 3. I just want to round it like that. Alright, I'm going to press I to inset. I just want to make sure that these vertices don't cross over. And that's probably okay. I might grab this and scale it a bit more outwards like that. I may have to scale in the Z to get sort of a more even. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, I'm going to extrude backwards, X faces, get rid of those faces. And now let's have a look at this. So we've got that piece. I think what I'll do is we'll take this face and I'm going to extrude it backwards a little bit, like that. I'll do a boolean on that in a moment to create the screen area. So let's just bevel this thing here. In edge selection, Shift Alt and click there and there, and Control B, and it's a nice rounded kind of structure. That's okay like that. Okay, so I'm going to select this face here, and I'm actually going to break it out. P to break it out, and I could take this and I can shade smooth. Okay, let's just double check here actually before we go on, and Alt N recalculate outside, and these ones will Alt N flip. I happen to have that one. Flip. This one. Alt N flip. There we go. Okay, so let's take that and bring the 3D cursor there. We'll go back into wireframe, and I want to create this area here. So I'm going to bring in another plane, I think, and just get it to the approximate size I want. Rotate X 90, scale it in the Z, and you know, we'll use something like that. Okay. One for vertex selection. You can do this in wireframe or not. I just want a nice big bevel on that, nice and rounded. I think I'll roll up maybe to 5. Okay, I'm going to take that and extrude back to give it some thickness. I'll probably have to take that and recalculate outside, and I'm going to use that to punch a hole through this. This is just a single plane, so alright, so let's take this and add boolean and select that. Apply. I don't need that anymore. You can see that there's no thickness to this, so I'm going to Shift Alt and click the edges of this, and I'm going to extrude back, and I'm going to press S to scale and do that. I'm going to press F to make a face. Now I'll be bringing this back in a moment, and if it goes into the body here, I'll just move it forward. But before I do anything else, I'm going to Shift Alt and click all of this and give this a bevel. I'll just need 3 though, so I'll do that, and I'm going to do the same down here. And we have that. I'll shade smooth in a bit. Let's just take this and see how well it goes on here. And as you can see, I'm going to have to pull it forward. I'm just going to leave that up there. So I'm going to come in, select that face, and I'm going to pull it forward until we see it. Start to see it. Okay. So what have I got going on there? Okay, I'm going to expand my selection actually so I get all of that, and then just pull it forward until it just starts to show like that. Okay, so that's not a very nice structure, I'm realizing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these edge loops, and we'll be back to that. Just want to make sure, yeah, I can select that, and maybe I'll just bring one edge down. Just wondering if I can possibly pull this out a little bit and get this to go back just a little bit more before it disappears underneath there. Okay, that's good enough for what I need to do. Okay. Alright, so we got that going on. We'll use that. And I want to get this. I think I'll try to use this piece here if I can. So let's go into edit mode, Shift D. I'm going to scale it down a bit. I'll break it out. I don't mind if this is a little thinner than it was. So this one, and I'm just going to pull it over here. And I am in wireframe. And then just start pulling these up until I sort of get this this border effect. going to pull it a little bit away from that wall there. Something like that. Okay, that's all right there. I kind of want a face in here, so I'm just going to focus on this. And I'm going to take this edge and pull it up a little bit. I'm going to press F to make a face. No, I'm not going to do it there. Change my mind. I'm going to use this F to make a face there, but I'm going to break it out and bring everything back. And I just want to see that is in front, so that's good. I might scale a little bit, so just make sure it's underneath. Okay, so we've got that. Just have a look over here. Do the buttons on there, so maybe we'll bring the 3D cursor there. And I'm going to bring in a plane, and I'm not really going to concentrate on how many, although there are 9. I don't know if I can get 9 in there or not. Pretty darn small. I'm going to rotate X 90. Let's see here. Let's take this edge and bring it down to about where the buttons are, and this edge to where the buttons are, and then maybe scale it in the X. And then maybe we'll just drop it edge, leave Control B, roll back to 2, so we split it maybe there. I'll do that here, split it so we, you know, kind of have our buttons. Hopefully they're kind of the same, around the same shape, like that. Let's just pull that out. It might be a little smaller because of what I'm going to do. I'm going to press I twice, I, pull in. That'll separate them like that. I want to press 3 for face selection, and then Control I to invert the selection and get everything else, and then X faces. Now hopefully those aren't too close. Let's just have a look at this. Hopefully there's enough room between them so you can actually see them. I'm going to extrude backwards, X faces, get rid of those faces, and then take all of these and push them on. Then I'm going to come over here and add a bevel. We'll see if we can 0.005 maybe. So we have some buttons on there. Are those facing the wrong way though? Yeah. Recalculate outside. Okay, so far so good. So we got that, we got that. The other stuff is texture there. So let's move on now and do these things. My 3D cursor's there, that's fine. I'm going to bring in a UV sphere. Put it at 16. You could try lower if you wanted. I'm going to rotate 90. Drag it over here, scale it down. Okay. And press 1 for vertex selection and get rid of the bottom vertices there, or that right hand side really. I'm going to extrude out a little ways, and let's see how I want to do this. I'll just take it, and I guess I was going to mirror it. Alright, let's just select like that. See if my 3D cursor's in the middle, and mirror that. Let's set the origin to the 3D cursor. Not quite. So let's choose something better. Just this piece here. Set the origin to the 3D cursor. Good, that brings it in. Nah, that's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to turn on clipping and box select. Actually go into edit mode of this thing. Box select here. Drag them in, they'll hit, collide, and let's apply that mirror, and let's just focus on that and look from the side. I'm going to get rid of, in wireframe, get rid of all this back side here, and see if we miss any vertices. Let's try that. Okay, I think that looks fine. Let's get rid of this edge. X, dissolve edges. Making shade smooth that. Slash. Let's just double check it's facing the right way. Yeah, it is. And now we'll take it and make sure that it's making contact. That's okay, probably like that. Okay, let's take that and Shift D to duplicate and drag it down here. and then Shift D to duplicate. We'll drag it up here and box select, border select, whatever. That is good enough, leave enough room. Let's let's just box select this and Control L and Shift D to duplicate to pull it down there. And then get a little bit of that, Control L, Shift D to duplicate, pull it over here to about there, and then box select these and pull them in. Okay. I'm going to take those and join them. And that's fine. Okay, and now I need to do that circle thing there, so I'm going to bring in a circle and I'll make it, I don't know, 22 vertices, let's say. Rotate X 90 and just bring it over here. Something like that. I'm going to press E and S and come in. I'm going to Shift D to duplicate, scale into about there, E and S to about maybe there. So I have this, pull it out. I'm going to extrude back and X faces, get rid of those back faces, and then bevel in edge selection. Shift Alt and click. You could use less vertices than this if you wanted. And I'm going to bevel it pretty good. I might press C for clamps, so if they hit, they'll kind of stick. Do that. Select it all, merge by distance, and I'll have that. And I think that's probably good enough. Double check this. Yeah. Just want to make sure that this is, make contact here. There we go. All right. Just looking to double check, see if there's anything I'm missing. We can pretty much, I think, do the rest in texture. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to select all of this, merge by distance, just in case. One last check of the face. Okay, let's head over to UV editing. And I'm going to try to do a lot of simple stuff here. I'm going to try cube projection for this. And I may go ahead and pack. You can use Blender or this and just move stuff out of the way. And this stuff I can just unwrap. Oh, I got all that stuff because that's joined. Okay, I just want to get this stuff, let's say, unwrap. Okay, so I got some screen stuff. I need that to be relatively large. These guys here, I think I can just unwrap like that, and I'll just scale them down, and then we'll pack. I might even do average island scale, which will change what I just did. Let's see, these guys should be able to just unwrap and just move them out of the way. So that leaves this stuff, I think. Let's see these buttons. Can I just unwrap? They're a little wonky, but if I do a cube project, I'll pack just to see. You know, it's pretty good. Now let's do that thing. Let's just unwrap that, but I'll make it pretty small. And we got this guy. Now that one, I think for these ones I'm going to cut the corners for this, there and there. And let's have a look at the unwrap for that. Okay, maybe I can straighten these. I'm not sure if I would need to. Let's see how well, yeah, that works pretty good. Let's take that, put that somewhere. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So it's a pretty quick and kind of, I don't know, not cheating unwrap, but you know, not really doing a great job. But if it works and it looks good, then that's okay. What am I doing? Just unwrap, right? Oh yeah, and then straighten these. Yeah, okay. So what does that leave us with? We did that. We've done that. I know we have to do this. I do want to come in here and I want to put an edge loop, I think there. And maybe I'll do an edge loop around here as well. Now if I do that and just take the whole thing and unwrap, that's actually fine. I think I've got everything. If I select it all, let me see what a straightforward pack looks like for this. It might be that I want to get some things bigger and some things smaller. See, because if I do average island scale, a lot of stuff that I wanted gets smaller, even if I want a bit more detail on there. And just looking at this and trying to remember if that's all I want there. There might be other little details, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. I just want a sort of oval kind of space and enough room to put that up there. And then these are going to be very simple. I think we're okay. So let's give that a try anyhow. Okay, so I'm going to select it all and create an FBX. So there it is in Substance Painter, and I've baked the mesh maps at 2K. So let's give this a try. Just one material, one texture set. Let's try like plastic, making that pretty white. And let's see what we got. Roughness there, maybe lower it a bit. I don't even really need metallic on there. I will do the usual filter that I do, which is this matte rough grainy, or whatever it is, matte finished rough. I'll just bring down the intensity. Okay, it's going to be pretty simple, so we'll get some dirt on there in a bit. So let's just use this as a reference. This one looks a little metal. I don't really like it that much, so I think I'm going to use the white kind of plastic. So I want to get some black in there. So let's just start getting some black in there. Not that. So what I'll do is I'm just going to duplicate this. I'll call this black. And drop that down in color. And maybe we'll come over here and just lower that here. It'll get some from the other one. Let's put a black mask on here, and let's try polygon fill. Let's try this one here. So what do I want? I'll do all of this stuff. Yeah. That's fine. And I'm going to want that also, I think, in here. But the border is going to be like that. Did I? Yeah. Okay. Not that. So I've got that black, and the border is just going to be this, you know, the color that it already is. That darkness will probably come from dirt, but I could paint that in. But let's go have a look at this stuff up here. So let's duplicate that one. Let's clear the mask, and let's make this. We'll start with that, and let's come over here and put that in there. I can always change the color if I'm not liking that. It's a bit more vibrant, isn't it? Well, that's okay. And then I want to have some area that's kind of whitish, the same as this. And so what I'm going to do is I'll switch to orthographic. And on that mask, I'm going to choose a square alpha, and I'm going to bring that up. I could just do it this way, couldn't I? I'm going to press X, and I'm just going to click, and let's just see if it's roughly halfway. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I'm going to press X again to bring back the white so it'll paint red. Make this a bit smaller. And I'm going to try just going across, and I know it's there, and down to make a cross. I'm going to switch to the eraser, but use the square. And just go over that like that. And I'll just, kind of cut it, get it to look reasonable. I'm not going to be very close up to this. Okay, I'm not worried about this little red thing there. Let's do that. Okay. Now we also need a circle. So I wonder if, I think I'll just duplicate this layer, but clear the mask and come to paint. And I'm going to find a circle. I'm going to use, which one is it? This one here. I'll go back to my brushes. Okay. And zoom in and scale it out, but I can change the border width, and I'm going to get it so that I can make it a bit wider and a bit bigger. Something like this. I don't want it to touch. Make sure that we're on white. Click. Okay, let me just compare that. I'm just going to come in a little bit more, and we'll just do it. No. All right, close enough. I'm going to switch back to square. Scale it down. I'm going to press X and just make it a bit smaller, and then I'm just going to try to, whoops, not there. I'm going to try to come down through the middle to erase those in the middle. Something like that. I think that's probably okay, from at a distance. Okay, so we got that so far. Let's work on this screen here. What I could do is I can duplicate this and just delete that paint. Let me make sure I clear that mask. And I'm going to change this to, I'll start with darkish blue there. Okay, on the mask. And I'm going to use this and put that in there. Okay, so that part. And then I'm going to create another, I guess, fill. And I'll use, I don't know, white roughness maybe. Maybe the roughness actually for this can be kind of shiny. I don't think you'll even notice it. But I just want color and roughness. I'm going to use a black mask, and I'm going to use a paint. Yeah, okay, paint. That's fine. And I want the square. And I'm going to paint some white in there. Doesn't look all that white, but. And then I'm going to add a blur filter to this. And start dragging the intensity up until it starts disappearing, but it just ends up looking like that. Kind of like a faint glow in there. Let's switch you back to perspective just so you get a sense of this thing. All right, so that's what I'm going to do for my glow effect. And if you want, you can take it down a little bit. Okay, so far so good, I guess. Let's do those buttons. I'm not even labeling my layers. Let's use something, I don't know what. Let's use this black maybe. Duplicate that and drag it up here. Where am I? Drag it up to there maybe. I'm going to clear this mask and I'm going to make this just a lighter color of gray. We'll try that. Okay, and on the mask I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use this, and I think I'm probably going to make them a little bit lighter and maybe a bit shinier too. So the buttons, let's just see if that comes through. What if we get rid of that? I think I'll get, because we've gotten some underneath, it's building up, and not too much, because I'm going to put some numbers on in what, white or black? This white, and I might even try a different color for this. Let me just think for a second about like a dark blue. Let's try that. Okay, so there's that, and let's create another layer. Should I do it as a fill? Yeah, I will do it as a fill. I'll do color and height. I'll drop the height down a little bit. Have this a little brighter. We'll do a black mask and paint, and I'll switch back to orthographic. And I'm going to come to my alphas and choose font, and try this font here. Try typing, say, just like 1. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Now my resolution may not be very high for this. Actually, let me do that again. 1. Can I go any bigger than this? Because this is going to be, I mean, in general, it'll be relatively far away. I might do a render where it's closer, but what the heck. Or maybe I'll do 5, 6, and then some other symbols or something. I mean, you can go all out, but I'll just do that. And then maybe I'll do slash and star. I don't want to change the size yet. Pound maybe. All right, and then I'll do star, and at that point I'll just make it bigger. I just didn't want to change the size for the others, but we could do that. That might be too shiny for this. You know what? I'm just going to do a paint layer. Couldn't be bothered. And maybe not bold. Just do that, and then type aid. Yeah, I mean, that could work. Now, oh yeah, okay. Save that, and then I thought I would just put some dots. I'll use I can just use a paint layer. The thing about using a paint layer is that you can't change it afterwards. You have to redo it. But I'm going to use color and height. Drop the height down a little bit. Color. No, in fact, I'll use roughness as well. When you're doing holes, you often don't want them, shining out. And let's search for dots and use these rectangular dots. Bring that up. Bring the scale down. Okay, let's see. I'm going to rotate this. It's just going to be something there. Like that. I'm coming out of that back into perspective. We're going to throw some dirt on here before we go any further, and we may be almost done anyhow. We'll just use the dirt generator. Okay. What am I missing? Okay, let's check and see if there's some dirt in the hole. Okay, so what I'll do here, this is my dirt. I'll just label that one. I'll just come down here. I'm just going to create a paint layer and use, get rid of that, the alpha. Just use color and roughness, I guess. That's fine. And just use a hard brush. So we have that. I was thinking I might get rid of some of this dirt. If you find that happens, let me go to a dirt brush, and you get just too much. X will give me more dirt, or white actually, and black will give me less. I just thought, you know, maybe I would just do this. Let's zoom out, it's not that noticeable. And the final thing I'm going to do, which is going to be right up here, I'm going to do, I'll do it as a fill in case I want to change the color. And height, I'll drop that down. And I'm going to make that sort of a greenish kind of color. Let's try this and we'll see how it goes. And I'll use paint. And I'll jump back to my alphas and I'll look for that square again. And I just want to come in here and do something like, and that didn't work. Okay, so if it's gone funny, just come back up here, position jitter, angle jitter. What are you doing? Just want straightforward kind of thing. You know, just to have that as if it's, you know, that kind of thing. All right. Save that maybe. And we're good to go. All right, so this is going to be, let's call this med kit video. There we go. File, export textures, choose metallic roughness. My normal is OpenGL, that's good. I'm not upping the resolution anywhere, just as it is. Okay. I would have a little bit of work to do to get rid of that. Let's have a look at that. I didn't see that before. Okay, where is that? Okay. Okay, it really doesn't have to be much higher resolution than that. Okay. Let's take that and put it in the scene, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And there it is in the scene on the wall. Okay, and this is what the scene is looking like so far. That may not be the final position or size, but just to get it in there. All right, as you can see, I've done a bit of work on the furniture and some books, and then there's that thing there. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the series, probably do the rest of the stuff on my own, just a couple of posters, maybe a couple of blood splatters. If I do anything important, I will let you know how I did it, but that's where we're at so far. All right, thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.